Hello everyone, this is NainaMD Beverly Hills, Fusion of Science and Beauty. Welcome to my show. And today I have the co-founder of the Advanced Med Academy, Dr. Stephen Ross. And we're going to do something a little different. He's actually going to interview me. So we'll see how that goes. Hello, Dr. Ross.
Hi, Dr. Naina. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little nervous being interviewed today.
I was going to ask, are you ready for your interview?
I'm ready for my interview.
Good. Well, let's get started here, shall we?
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So I'm really excited to be here to interview our latest faculty member, Dr. Naina Sashdev. And just a little background on Dr. Naina. That's what she goes by her colleagues and patients, Dr. Naina. She's a physician and faculty member of Advanced Med Academy. She's also an authority on hormone therapy and soon-to-be author. She's the medical director of NainaMD Anti-Aging and Regenerative Clinic in Beverly Hills, California, and affiliate clinics with her current international client base from Beverly Hills to Dubai. She recently served as ambassador for Procter & Gamble's Olay Regenerative Skincare line, which she helped launch internationally. Domestic and international expert in anti-aging and regenerative medicine, including aesthetics, functional medicine, integrative medicine, and research. Her new book, which I just got a look at, is called Testosterone, the Sexy Hormone for Women, is going to be out in 2017. And it will empower women to share her passion to stay young from the inside out. She launched her own skincare line in functional medicine with a functional beverage and Optimum nutrigenomics products under the name NainaMD in 2014. And in 2015, she was selected for an international calendar along with Miss America in 2015 as a role model for women's empowerment and against domestic abuse in Saras to Suits, started by CNN news reporter Patty Tripathi. And I have that calendar here as well. And I believe you modeled for the November?
November.
Let's see if we can pull that up.
We all had to come up with a quote for this one, and I wanted to share the quote with you because it means a lot to me. The quote says that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, I'll try again tomorrow. And this quote was from Mary Ann Radmacher. And it's my favorite quote.
That's wonderful. It's a beautiful picture as well.
Thank you.
So you've got quite the background. Maybe you can tell our viewers a little bit about your background in education, where you went to school, and all your additional postgraduate education.
Well, I graduated as an MD, and I started to pursue a research fellowship. And I was at actually at the University of Chicago, where we started to look at free radicals. So this was even though I was always interested in nutrigenomics, right from ever since I was 20 years old, I started writing papers on free radicals and so forth. We really didn't even have in those days, and it was those days, I have to admit, that to really measure those free radicals, we didn't even really have the means to effectively look at them. And so when I was asked to do research on the hyperbaric oxygen in terms of being beneficial to burn victims, it was a very, very controversial issue at the time with my mentor, who was a plastic surgeon, Dr. Krizik, at University of Chicago. We found out at that time a lot of the research was a lot of negative studies, and what I really learned from that was that I really had a passion in anti-aging and really the theories of what causes damage to the skin,
to the cells.
Damage to the cells. That's really what came out of it.
And can I say that this was in the late 80s?
This was
when hyperbaric chambers were primarily used for diving.
Yes.
And decompression sickness.
Yeah.
And nobody even thought about using it for autoimmune diseases and neurological diseases.
And Dr. Krizik was the first doctor at UC that got the hyperbaric chamber in the burn unit. Can you imagine that? It was so controversial and so I was in the heat to begin with. I mean, I was like...
so what got you there? Where did this passion for anti-aging medicine start from? What was it?
Since I was 20. I really got interested in how, like pharmacology of vitamin C, how nutrients work. But I wanted to know them more in depth. And so it was after I aced a class in organic chemistry. That's what set it. It was like I did very well in organic chemistry. You know, you had to do the whole year. And my instructor said I was one of the best in organic chemistry, which comes
I wish you were
difficult.
My partner when I was studying organic
which
chemistry.
comes difficult to most people, but it came easier to me.
Yeah.
And then I did a master's in mathematics. And I think that, for some reason, that background of having to be very detailed and having to figure everything out at a very
You were
very
really looking at the molecular level.
At the molecular
of all
level.
of this. Right.
So when I started taking biology classes, it led to, of course, the whole. I took a class with theories of aging, and then that's how it started. I took a class in physiology of nutrients, and for some reason, everything just clicked. And at that time, there were conferences in nutrigenomics. Now that's a field that nobody had even heard about.
Right.
There was only like one conference, and now it's like exploded into. I can't even keep up.
Right.
So nutrigenomics is where you can't change your genes, but the way you express your genes can be changed through nutrients. So
right.
I really started looking at nutrients and studying them. You know, Paulus Lining, Jeffrey Bland became my mentor. There were books like Genetic Nutritioneering that he had written. Then after my training in medicine, the Functional Institute of Functional Medicine, I helped support that financially when it first came out. And so that's how I really started getting more and more involved. Finally, the A4M Academy started to have a board certification process because we wanted to get more evidence-based in these fields. So even though A4M initially was sort of so to speak, a very controversial on Quack Watch organization, it really gained a lot of credibility when it started offering anti-aging and regenerative certifications.
And it helped other organizations to start.
And it helped other organizations
Right.
such as yours and many others to start. And I think that credibility and that evidence-based has always stuck with me. And I started to look at even so what I started to do was look at our own journals. Because I was a mathematician, I started looking at our own journals, conventional medicine journals, and I would critique them because sometimes they were not the right distribution, or I would read them, but there was something in the discussion that, for example, wasn't even brought up. So I started utilizing our own conventional medical journals to give me the science for integrative medicine.
Right, and integrative medicine being more evidence-based, unconventional medicine therapies,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, I'm interested, though. I mean, your practice now in anti-aging medicine has a lot to do with hormones.
Yes.
Why hormones? What got you into that field of hormones?
It's a major part of my practice because one of the things, as I learned, there are so many theories of aging, but one of them is I do know that the natural decline of hormones leads to a whole variety of chronic diseases, can be associated to that. For example, cholesterol is our starting point for all the hormones. It's only natural why cholesterol would increase. So we never really looked at any of the biochemical reasons why certain chronic diseases appear, or suddenly there's a significant increase in autoimmune, because the immune system might be becoming more dysfunctional when the hormones decline. So, and having said that, natural hormones got my interest. It was not the synthetic hormones. It's bioidentical or natural hormones. Right. I like to say natural hormones.
Was that before or after the 2002 with Women's Health Initiative?
It was especially after. It was always before how to bring balance into your body, but after the 2002 Women's Health Initiative, I mean, that was huge. We suddenly,
it was huge, but what's interesting about the initiative, and I know you read that thoroughly as I did, this was using synthetic hormones.
Yes.
And the reason that it became such big news was because of the increase of breast cancer.
And even that study, that part of that study was also stopped because the heart disease risk.
That's
also.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, there was also a French cohort that was doing their own research on bioidentical hormones of over 3,200 patients.
Yes.
And they found no increase in breast cancer or in heart disease.
Right. And
so it kind of shut down the Women's Health Initiative. But because of the initiative, it became big news.
Yes.
And isn't it interesting that the focus group and the cohort that did their research on bioidentical hormones didn't get much news at all?
They didn't
Why
get much
is that?
news. because Wyeth Ayers controlled the synthetic hormone market at that time.
Right.
In fact, I went into the history of hormones, and the Wyeth Ayers there was a doctor who even wrote a book on hormones, simply stating that if women didn't get on estrogen, it was a very negative connotation.
Right.
And
the results were not good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and so many of these women just felt that they had to be on synthetic hormone replacement therapy, and no one was really looking at natural, plant-based hormones. Right. And
bioidentical.
They're identical to your own body. So call them natural, call them bioidentical, call them what you want, but they're identical. So if you look at, again, it goes back to organic chemistry, right? So having a passion for organic chemistry, it's very clear that if you have something that's the same molecular structure that's identical, why would you choose something that's not the same structure? Why would you not want to study that further? I think part of the controversy of the natural hormone therapy not gaining ground is because it can't be patented.
That's right.
Just as Dr. McCulley wrote his book called The Homocysteine Revolution, if you look at his history, he very clearly showed evidence-based studies that showed that homocysteine was marker for inflammation and a risk for heart disease, but yet he was actually kicked out of Harvard and actually had to finish his studies in the VA because maybe there was just no money in it.
Right.
So many of us doctors who have done something different or who've chosen to go a way or a path that doesn't necessarily involve a patented product,
pharmaceutical,
can become a very controversial subject.
But when we're looking at bioidentical hormones, they are very safe and very effective, aren't they?
They're very safe, they're very effective,
if they're done
especially
properly.
If they're done properly. And what I did for the last 20 years is I put another layer of safety, if you will. Mm-hmm. So my mentors, and I very gracefully thank Suzanne Summers as well, for bringing out the whole idea about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, natural hormone replacement therapy. But what I wanted to do was put an extra layer of protection, was that I didn't want to just evaluate the periods after a woman became menopausal. What I wanted to do was to see if I could synergize a low dose, even a very low dose, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. In other words, if we optimize your normal ranges. Right, so I never went outside the range.
Right.
And I think that's a very important point in safety.
And that takes us to your program, Advances in Hormone Therapy with the Academy. I've seen your presentations. I've read your information. And you provide teaching the hormone therapies in a very unique way. And you dispense in a very unique way also. Yes. And I want you to talk about that a little bit for our audience here, because this is what makes it a very unique course. The program that you're teaching is very unique. There's lots of programs out there teaching hormone therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, but they're all the same. Yeah. Why is yours so unique, and why do you take this approach, and what got you involved in wanting to teach this in the first place?
I think I started to realize that was because my mentors that I looked to, that taught the courses, for example, didn't even know at that time when it was being taught about receptors, of estrogen receptors, for example, or hormone receptors. And receptor responses is key in everything. And hormones is simply just that. A hormone is a messenger. So what I came to firmly believe is that you don't need large doses of hormones to achieve an effect. You can synergize certain things. And I think that's what makes my teaching unique and my practice unique, is that I learned to use very low doses, but combining it and customizing it so that it became, again, like as I mentioned before, adding more layers of safety. The last thing I wanted to do would be ever put in a position to saying my bioidentical hormone replacement therapy or natural hormone replacement therapy would have caused, breast cancer or uterine cancer. I didn't want to go there. I wanted to be safe. So
you start on very low doses of estrogen, estradiol, estrone, progesterone, testosterone, and you find out what's working,
and many
what
others,
isn't.
many
Right.
others.
And
There's
many
so many
others.
other hormones.
And you find out what's working, what isn't, and then you can adjust those dosage, as opposed to the traditional way of dispensing is give them a triest, give them a biest, and well, if it doesn't work, you increase it, decrease it.
Yeah.
So you've got a very unique way, and I think.
And even the way sometimes the hormones are compounded is very unique.
Right. So you teach this in your program, don't you?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really unique about this program, that if you're a prospective student wanting to learn hormone therapy, this is a very unique way of dosing, a very unique way of dispensing, and also monitoring. And you also teach in your program how to look at labs, what labs to request,
a lot of the
how to interpret them.
Again, that's the thing with conventional medicine. A lot of the traditional labs don't give us sometimes the entire story. Sometimes we do need to look at saliva tests, but again, the saliva tests need to be done right, because when we enter a realm of integrative medicine where there's no conventional medicine guidelines, then we need to be setting our own guidelines, and those being that we have looked into every detail of a test, or how to interpret a test, or we've been able to reproduce a test. So all that's looked at.
Right.
And I think that's also very important.
That's very important, and I think this is going to make a difference worldwide. Why did you choose the Academy, the Advanced Med Academy, to teach? There's a lot of academies and educational institutions that would love to have you as a teacher.
I think I chose this academy because you guys gave me the freedom to actually pursue what I passionately believed in. I was not bound by even the guidelines of like what's traditionally been done in bioidentical hormones, for example, higher doses or just the traditional way of doing things. You were open to maybe a newer approach to administering by natural hormone replacement therapy. So that really attracted me. You guys were very open-minded.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you as our faculty, and I hope you as prospective students will take advantage of this course and sign up, register as soon as possible. I know we're going to be releasing it in just a couple of weeks here. We're very excited. What can we look forward to with future courses with the Academy or future training? I know that you're going to be teaching in India, in Dubai, in Bangkok as part of the Academy. We're really excited about that.
I think it's very important to realize that this isn't just the start of an extension, because natural hormone replacement therapy can affect skin, and so aesthetics is just approached in a very different way. I think detoxification is so important, but to combine interdisciplinary fields that have never been combined before. So we're combining natural hormone replacement therapy with aesthetics. We might be combining natural hormone replacement therapy with detoxification, and vice versa. We might be doing detoxification and aesthetics. So, and it's all got a beautiful metabolic and biochemical and physiological basis.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to interview you today. This has been great. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my show. This is NainaMD, Fusion of Science and Beauty, right here in Beverly Hills. As you know, I have my guest, Dr. Stephen Ross. He's a co-founder of the Advanced Med Academy, and he did something a little unusual by interviewing me, which I'm very grateful, Dr. Ross.
Well, thank you. Thanks
it was a great interview.
Yeah, I think it was.
But we're going to interview you now.
Okay.
We're going to turn the table here.
All right. Okay.
So I've got a few questions for you.
Sure.
Right? So Dr. Stephen Ross is a practitioner, he's a speaker, he's an author, educator, and consultant to patients and practitioners around the world internationally. And he's the #1 selling book. It's a program basically on functional medicine, and has trained thousands of practitioners in integrative medicine and functional medicine. He's also the co-founder, as you know, of the Advanced Med Academy. So my question to you is, can you give a brief description of what integrative and functional medicine is?
Well, integrative medicine really is a new field of medicine where we look at individuals from a holistic point of view. And we look at individuals in the way for prevention and maintenance of health. Now, functional medicine is really getting to the root cause of health challenges, utilizing highly specialized laboratory testing to evaluate the physiology and the function of an individual. So this new era of medicine has really taken off quite well, because it combines both conventional and evidence-based non-conventional medicine, with the focus really being on restoring function of the individual.
So in other words, imbalances are looked at, right?
Right. We're looking at imbalances.
You can't just say one is high or low. You could still be in the range of normal,
That's
but
right.
you could still have an imbalance. And I think that's where
right.
it's the gray zone. It's really looking at the gray zone.
Right, right. And it's looking at the gray zone and then determining, okay, what can we do to restore function of the individual, as opposed to in conventional medicine, we look at the diagnosis. What's the diagnosis? Based on the diagnosis, based on the symptoms, we're going to give you something. Well, that's the end stage already. We're not going to look at the... We know that our patients have an end stage. We know that they have a diagnosis. But why? Why do they get it in the first place? What can we do to reverse it? And what can we do to prevent it from coming back? So we're looking at the whole body from an integrative perspective and a functional perspective, working together with all the subspecialties, as opposed to what is well known as silo medicine. We have cardiologists, gastroenterologists, immunologists, etc., that don't talk to each other. So in functional and integrative medicine, we communicate through this web-like connection.
Absolutely, and it becomes personalized to the point where you're really looking at what these individual imbalances are. You're using genomic, right? You're using genomics, especially. That's really become big. Right alongside of functional medicine is genomic testing, but genomic testing, which is different from just like generally like the gene coding, is like maybe nutrigenomics, finding out like what nutrients might upregulate the certain reactions that might be abnormal that could help. Right. So exactly. I think that's very important to mention. And what's the purpose of the Academy?
Well, the Academy's purpose is to train practitioners. All licensed practitioners, MDs, DOs, DCs, NPs, NDs, everybody that's licensed. We have the online courses to help them become educated in these areas. So all of our courses are online. They're all distance learning courses, and they're all evidence and science-based. So our purpose really is to get this message out, to teach the practitioners so they can teach their patients.
So what are the courses that are being offered through the Advanced Med Academy?
We have a number of courses being offered right now, and a number of them in production right now as well. Our first course is one that I'm teaching, which is an introduction to integrative and functional medicine, where I'm teaching the new and the advanced students, the practitioners, what integrative and functional medicine is really all about, the science behind it. We're demonstrating through case studies, examples of going through a case study on an individual from a functional perspective and an integrative perspective, and then also showing, compare and contrasting conventional and unconventional therapies. In the course, we also teach the different types of integrative courses that we have. One of the courses is, of course, your course, Advances in Hormone Therapy, which I think is really going to knock the socks off doctors that have taken courses already in hormone therapy, because you provide such a unique perspective. We also have courses in neurology, neurotransmitters. We have one coming out on the physiology of stress, mind-body medicine, gastroenterology.
So that's so important, because so much of it gets fragmented, and now you're like, we're starting to just, bring it all together. It's truly mind, body, and spirit.
Well, when you look at integrative medicine, it really is looking at the lifestyle, the exercise, diet, stress management, and mind-body medicine. So we combine all of them in our courses here.
And you go seeking. We look at gut imbalances, immune system imbalances, hormone imbalances, neurotransmitter imbalances, environmental toxin exposure. Everything gets looked at, and I think when you start looking at things from that perspective, then you really start to understand what is really caused my issue, and where you might be diagnosed. Let's just, for example, so you might be diagnosed with anxiety or depression. But you don't know if that anxiety, depression might have been coming from a metabolic imbalance, where it's a simple thing,
could be from
like
the gut,
just like a B12 deficiency, because you had a gut issue and you couldn't absorb the intrinsic factor that helps make the absorb the B12. So just simple things like that.
See, I think what's interesting about all this in integrative and functional medicine is we're really going back to our roots. We're going back to our university days, our college days, our medical
that's
school days.
That's what's so fun about it.
And looking at our basic physiology. I mean, Guyton's physiology textbook will tell you everything.
It's all going back to basics.
Exactly. You're looking at the Krebs cycle. We're looking at all these cycles.
Doesn't department store have that tagline, back to basics?
Yes, exactly. So we're going back to basics.
Back to basics.
And that's really what it is. So I think that's what's so exciting, and that's why the practitioners love taking our courses, is because they're refreshing their mind. They're going back to the basics.
So how do they get this on? You can do this online, or
this is all online. We're a 100% online distance learning program. Okay. And what's really fun about our programs, and this is why the students really love our programs, is our learning platform is very easy to use. Mm-hmm. And it was designed by our director of education, who's a PhD at UC Berkeley, whose expertise is in online education. So he helped develop our courses, and making it fun, making it easy, and it's really very affordable for all practitioners, and something that a busy practitioner can really find time to do. And
what's the website?
The website is advancedmedacademy.com. And what's really interesting about our course, and I think very unique, is at the end of the course, a certificate is generated with your name, and you can put it on your wall, so you display your mm-hmm. certification in a course or your completion in a course, whatever it might be. But we actually have more faculty wanting to become faculty than we have places for right now, because they do see the uniqueness of our courses and the outreach that we have mm-hmm. Worldwide. Well,
that's really good. That's why I'm a member of your faculty, because
Absolutely.
That's part of the reason. I think it's very unique.
Absolutely. Well, and we want to keep it unique. We want to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
So one of the requirements is that our faculty are always updating their programs. And as a student,
that's another thing. That's absolutely another thing. You have so many places I've been to, and the courses are like always the same, and
right.
and very little updates. It's always the same, and we're constantly changing. I'm constantly changing,
right.
and because as we are in a health revolution, there is health knowledge that is changing every single day, not every week, every single day. There are facts
Absolutely.
emerging that change us. Quantum physics has changed the way we look at things. Computers technology has changed. 3D printers are changing the way. Virtual reality is changing the way. Artificial intelligence has changed the way.
Information revolution right
Absolutely.
now, there's so much out there. And the other thing that's really interesting is, physicians, practitioners come to us because they want to know, okay, what do I say to my patient when they say, well, I found all of this on the internet, what about it? Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what to say, then the patient's going to walk out and they're going to find somebody that does.
Well, listen, we're almost done with the show. AdvancedMedAcademy.com is the website, and look them up, because these are the doctors and these are the faculty that you guys can also pick to go and see as your doctor, or learn about this kind of medicine. And you don't have to be a doctor to learn it. You can learn it just for the sake of learning and enhance your own health. So this has been NainaMD, right here in Beverly Hills, Fusion of Science and Beauty. Thank you, Dr. Ross, for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We'll be back next week, you guys.